It was a cold and foggy evening when I contacted a close friend to spend the night at my place. We were both only 10 years old at the time, and my parents were usually at work until midnight, so I usually had nothing to do except watch a TV program or read a book. My friend Alex agreed to come and brought a Monopoly game to pass some of the time, and I also asked him if he was interested in going to explore an abandoned subway station 3 miles away. He seemed excited at first, so we planned to take the trip. In the morning, I remembered that the subway dates back to the mid-1920s and was abandoned in 1930 to after the market crash of 1929. I was fascinated by its history, but didn't get a chance to go inside after my parents warned me not to go inside. While I was sleeping quietly in my bed, I heard what sounded like gunshots coming from the woods behind the house. We both woke up scared after what we had heard, and I told my friend not to worry. His hunters tended to go into the woods often, but when I checked the time, it was 11:30 a.m., 39 o'clock p.m. This seemed very unusual because hunters only came to the forest between 8 p.m. and 10 o'clock p.m. I looked at Alex and decided to get out of bed and look out the window and see if I could see anyone in the woods. The darkness blocked my view, so I couldn't see anyone in the woods. I turned around and looked at Alex again. Suddenly I heard the front door creak open. I got goosebumps. We both quietly went to the bathroom. We locked the door and turned off the light. It was the only safe place in the house. We were both terrified, desperately trying to stay calm. We heard footsteps getting louder and louder until we stopped in front of the bathroom door, and that's when the most horrible sound made my heart almost explode. We both screamed. Did that person tear the door apart? It was hard to find the vent because it was black inside the room, and when I noticed the vent, the person behind the door had cut a hole big enough for us to see him. He was wearing black leather and a plague doctor mask. I ran towards the vent, but it was too high off the ground for us to reach it, so Alex said I should go first. Because he was the strongest, 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 he was the strongest. He lifted it up over his shoulder and let me open the vent and crawl in. When I looked at the door again, the man had managed to get his arm through the hole and was reaching for the lock. I immediately grabbed Alex's hand, but I had trouble pulling him into the vent. I shouted and started after him. I followed the figure until he was taken to the abandoned subway deep in the forest. It was cold and foggy, so I could only see objects 5 or 6 meters away. Inside the subway was a pool of freezing cold water so dark I couldn't see anything. I had to rely on listening to Alex's screams and tracing the source. As I walked slowly through the subway, the intense stress of the situation, I was now looking for Anne. I was struggling to breathe under the fear, but there was no answer. I kept walking in the water until the exit was no longer visible. I was now having a massive panic attack. I had lost track of Alex and had no idea where I was or how to get out. A feeling of helplessness overtook me and I shouted frantically, "Where are you, Jake?" Thank you for watching the video to the end. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel.